Good afternoon, black powder shooters. This is Tim Davis coming to you again with another video. It's been a while since I've been able to make one, and I've actually got 2 or 3 new pistols here that I would like to start doing some reviews and introductions on, and maybe even some shooting videos. The one I'm going to talk about today is very popular in design, especially if you're into open-top Colt percussion pistols, and this is a Uberti reproduction of the 1860 Army. Very familiar design, like all Uberti reproductions. It's beautifully made. Metal to metal, wood to metal fit is gorgeous. Action on this pistol is like a Swiss watch. I mean, it's just perfectly timed. And very nicely made. That is not the result of anything Uberti did. I recently did a loading port modification on this gun to accept paper cartridges, and I still have a little bit of bluing to do to make that match the rest of the pistol. But as you can see, overall, beautiful gun, beautiful wood on the stocks, and just a great looking reproduction, great functioning reproduction. Uberti always does an excellent job with their pistols. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of a little bit of the history of this gun. Aptly named the 1860 Army. Sam Colt in the times was always trying to innovate and come up with a better product, and quite frankly, seeing the signs of the times and of the United States in 1860, knew that war was pending, and he was in the market to make some money, and he wanted to design a lighter, more balanced weapon to be carried by both infantry and cavalry to use in combat. And Colonel Colt at that time actually really didn't care which side bought his product. Matter of fact, the last shipment of these to go to the Confederates was shipped the day after the attack on Fort Sumter, and the boxes were labeled hardware, so they'd make it through the blockades to the Confederate Army. But this sleek design with the rounded barrel and different type of loading lever and a large caliber was a result of advancements in metallurgy. The original infantry or army weapon that was used up until the advent of the 1860 Army was the Colt Dragoon. And the Colt Dragoon was about 14 inches long and weighed a little over 4 pounds. This was built to replace the Dragoon with a large caliber, medium frame belt pistol. This was it. As compared to the Dragoon, this gun was 13 inches long, has an 8-inch barrel, and weighed 2.5 pounds. So carrying one or carrying a brace of these, you were a lot lighter and had a lot lighter load to carry if you chose to carry these over the Dragoon and had just as much firepower. Now, to cut production costs, the frame that Colonel Colt chose to use in these was a modified 1851 Navy frame. This is an example of a 1851 Navy. This one was cut down and ivory stalks added. This would be something you would see probably post-Civil War and Western expansion, where people began to modify these to where they would be lighter to carry, quicker to come out of the holster. This is kind of a customized version, and we'll go over this gun here in a short time and do a video on it also. But if you look at the cylinder in the frame on the 1851 Navy, and this is a naval caliber 36, it's a straight frame. The water table there is straight, and the cylinder straight, 36 caliber. Colt took the same frame, as you're seeing right here, rebaited the cylinder to make more metal out here, and rebaited the water table on the bottom of the frame here to accept it. That kept manufacturing costs down. He didn't have to really retool anything, just design things as far as the frame was and cylinder was considered, just had to do some remachining. Now, if you look, this has a rounded barrel, which makes it very slim, very sleek, and the loading lever is a creeping loading lever. Very more substantial. There's no play in it, and it replaced the toggle link loading levers that were present on all models of Colt's revolvers up until that time. You see the toggle on it and two pieces. These tend to get loose over time just from wear and don't quite have the strength of the creeping loading lever that Colt used on the Army model. Another difference is you notice a steel back strap for more strength in this weapon. Still had the brass trigger guard. This particular one is also cut for a shoulder holster. You'll see the notches under the recoil shield and the large screws and the notch in the bottom of the frame for an attached shoulder holster, which made this more appealing to cavalrymen, dragoons that would have a short carbine type weapon to use in combat. Then could detach the shoulder holster and put the pistol back in their holsters. So a lot of subtle improvements for this gun, designed specifically for the military. Now, what made this possible to make this medium frame gun in a large caliber was the advancement in technology and metallurgy. Colt used what he called a special silver spring steel to forge this weapon with. It's a lot stronger than the iron used to make the earlier Dragoons and pocket models and even the earlier Navies. The only little problem they had with this weapon, it originally was marketed with a fluted cylinder to make it even lighter to carry. However, the special silver spring steel wasn't quite strong enough at that point to handle the 44 caliber loads, and they began having difficulties with the fluted cylinders exploding, and then went to the solid cylinder. Now, a lot of this is reminiscent of the naval model. You still have the naval battle scene on the cylinder, but again, it is a rebaited cylinder to handle the larger 44 caliber projectiles. It took a larger charge, up to 30, a little over 30 grains at some points. You could put in this pistol, and that gave you a pretty powerful weapon. I mean, out to 50, 75 yards, you could still, drop an enemy soldier or your combatant pretty handily with this pistol. Now, they took different types of ammunition. You could load your pistol with the standard round ball, and you could also load it with what they called the Johnston and Dow conical, or very popular in the times, paper cartridges made of combustible nitrated paper or thin, very thin rawhide, which was nitrated, would burn in the cylinder. Your powder charge was contained inside the paper cartridge, and the conical bullet. This happens to be a Johnston and Dow made with an old West paper cartridge kit. It would be very quick loading, combust in the cylinder, and you could load again a lot quicker than loading loose powder and ball. And that was the popular loading method of the times. But I've been doing some research, reading around about different loads used in the Civil War. They didn't always just use a conical bullet or a combustible cartridge. If you read any of books written by Elmer Keith, this guy was actually old enough to have known Civil War veterans in his younger days, and with his interest in firearms, he asked him a lot of questions about pistols. He really liked pistols and handguns, and asked him about their experiences with using handguns in combat during the Civil War. What a lot of people don't know, they used felt wads. People think that's a more modern advent of shooting black powder pistols. Actually not. They weren't readily available, and they had to be made themselves. And a lot of times they would take an old felt hat and cut those felt wads out of them. And these Civil War veterans would use different loads for different things. They said if you want penetration, and maybe you're hunting with your pistol, or you just wanted penetration, you would use a conical bullet. Although they said a lot of times with a conical bullet, it would merely wound the soldier or pass through them and not stop them. However, they said when you used a ball, believe it or not, it had a real smack to it. And they said it would knock a cavalryman off his horse and more than likely kill him if you scored a hit in the right area. So kind of interesting to see that these guys use different loads for different reasons, and they weren't always the paper cartridge with the conical bullet. So this particular design of pistol brought upon another very famous pistol that just like it, only it was the naval caliber, called the 1861 Navy, 36 caliber, made identical to the Army, only did not have the rebated cylinder, and also one of the most aesthetic and Colt's favorite handgun that he really never even lived to see coming into production and sales, the 1862 Pocket Police, with a fluted cylinder and a pocket-sized version of the 1860 Army. Very, very, very good weapon, very powerful weapon, very nicely made reproduction by Uberti. I'm hoping here in the next days I can get a shooting video of this particular pistol and share that with you also. But for now, thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and keep your powder dry.